Welcome back. We are just months away from the start of the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in Rio. Most athletes wait their entire lives to compete on the global stage at this level of sport. But a new threat looms over the year's games. This year, the Zika virus. Competitors are bowing out, choosing to stay home over fears of contracting the mosquito-borne virus. My next guest is celebrating 20 years since she led the U.S. to its first ever team gold in gymnastics. Seven-time Olympic medalist Shannon Miller joins me right now. Shannon, great to have you on the program. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Congratulations on all of your success. How are you feeling this year ahead of the Olympics with the Zika virus looming?
Well, I'm so excited about the Olympic year. I have been a fan of the Olympics since I started competing, and I've competed or worked at every Games. So for me, I'm excited to go back. But I do think with Zika, it's just a very personal decision, and I think we all have to just kind of take stock of where we are at in our personal lives, and really educate ourselves and be as prepared as possible and as safe as possible.
I mean, you're the really ambassador of the Olympic Games, and so people really look to you for leadership here. Do you think it's a mistake for some of these athletes to bow out?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I think everyone has to make their very personal decision, and I think everyone's in a little bit of a different situation. Certainly some of the athletes are looking at pregnancies or wives that are pregnant, so that's a safety concern lifelong, which, you know, I love the Olympics, and it is such an amazing thing, but life is life, and you have to be safe as much as possible. And I think different sports are in different situations. If you're in an outdoor sport where you're just going to be out a majority of the time, then you're probably more at risk than more of an indoor sport or working more indoors like me. So I think it's a very personal decision. I think we need to respect everyone's individual decision that they make.
Hey, Shannon, how well is the U.S. Olympic Committee communicating with the athletes about the risk?
My understanding is that the U.S. Olympic Committee is very much communicating and staying on top of it, because obviously they want all of the athletes to be safe, as well as the coaches and the support staff and everyone that is going over to Rio. So it's kind of one of those things. There's always something right before the Olympics, right? That's happening, and in this time, Zika is one of those things, and we need to be very educated, very aware, be on top of it, so that we can make those solid decisions of whether or not to go over, and just basically have the information so that we can make those decisions. But I think it's important to also know that there are some athletes that obviously will go over and compete, and we need to respect their decisions as well, because I mean it's also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many of these athletes.
Sure is. Shannon, let me ask you to weigh in on the Maria Sharapova news today. We've been talking about it all morning. She's been banned, obviously, for 2 years by the International Tennis Federation for positive drug testing for meldonium. She will obviously miss Rio. What's your take on Sharapova?
Well, I don't know the ins and outs of the specifics of the case, but I do know that you know, doping is a critical part of having fair play, and so I think it's important that that we all follow the rules, and I think sometimes the rules can be a little bit difficult sometimes to follow. I know in gymnastics specifically, we've had a couple of incidents, one in particular where, I mean, literally a little girl took Sudafed and then lost her gold medal, and unfortunately Sudafed does not help you on the balance beam, but still it was something that her trainer gave her, and I hesitate to get into it because I don't know the specifics, but I do think it's important that we have the doping control and to make sure that everyone is following the rules, because we have to go in with these young athletes that are coming into the sport. I want my children to look up to athletes that are competing clean and really doing the very best that they can individually without the performance-enhancing drugs. That can be devastating for their future just as a person.
Sure is. But by the way, do you still practice regularly on the beam? I mean, are you still doing gymnastics yourself? I know you're not competing.
Not unless there's EMT standing right by.
Yeah.
I don't practice regularly. I do occasionally. My kids go to the gym for the mommy and me classes. So I'll jump up on the beam once in a while and maybe walk or skip.
By the way,
but not a lot of flipping these days.
Oh God, what a great story! Congratulations on being cancer-free for 5 years. How wonderful! Tell us about your fight with ovarian cancer.
Thank you so much. That is another big celebration I have this summer. Today, I am 5 years cancer-free. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Yay. I was diagnosed in 2011, and I've been very upfront and tried to share my story as much as possible. I want to give other women hope that are going through a cancer diagnosis, but I continue to talk about health and wellness. It's one of the reasons I've partnered with OvaOne, which is a blood test that was not available when I was being diagnosed, but is that tool that women can use to help get to the right specialist to perform the surgery and give them an opportunity for better survival.
Shannon, great. Thank you so much for the advice to our viewers as well. We appreciate it, and we love seeing you today. Shannon, thank you.
Thank you.
Shannon Miller.
Thank you so much.
We'll be